The heartbeat of New York has always been the throbbing energy of its street life and its people, restless, striving, ready for anything. But for the past 8 weeks, the city that never sleeps has been anesthetized. Even in Times Square, almost nothing moving except the screens.
They call this the crossroads of the world, of course. Tens of thousands of people pass through here on a typical day, but these days you're lucky to find a handful.
I think the soul of the city thrives on density.
Valerie Paley is chief historian at the now closed New York Historical Society.
Is there a precedent for this?
Nothing quite like this that's shut down the whole city and affected just the whole temperament of the city.
A century ago, during the pandemic of 1918, Spanish influenza gripped the city. Face masks were mandated by the Board of Health. Papers tracked the rising daily death toll then too. And the city's health commissioner, Dr. Royal Copeland, launched an anti-spitting crusade.
In fact, there were Boy Scouts who were deployed, so if someone would spit on the street, they would give them a little card that said, "You're in violation of New York City's code by spitting."
It helped. 20,000 died, but New York fared better than most major cities, and it never closed. In recent weeks, I've wandered the city where I was born, taking pictures. I didn't know what else to do. The scenes were both beautiful and heartbreaking.
This is one of the places I used to play when I was a kid, the Alice in Wonderland statue. We used to love to sit on top of the Mad Hatter's hat. It opened in 1959 when I was 3, just about when I started to climb.
In the first few weeks of social distancing, I was startled to catch a couple kissing here. It felt illicit at first, then hopeful. The cultural life of the city has been in a kind of medically induced coma.
This is the Broadway show Company. They just started previews when Broadway was suspended, so they closed really before they could even open.
The Metropolitan Museum of Art, the country's largest museum, would typically have up to 20,000 visitors a day this time of year.
Today it's 2.
2.
You and me.
Daniel Weiss is president and CEO of the Met.
Has it ever been like this before?
We've closed in moments of crisis and snowstorms and 9/11 for a few days, but never like this.
What's it like to walk through this place, being in charge of it?
I've got to say, in this moment, it's very eerie to walk through the museum in the middle of the day, the light shining through the windows, and the objects looking magnificent, and no one there. Total silence, just me, is not entirely a comfortable feeling.
Weiss says the earliest the museum will reopen is July, but likely later.
Are you expecting, when you do reopen, that things will go back to normal quickly?
No, my own sense is that we'll never see that normal again.
What do you think something like this does to the soul of the city?
It's a wonderful contemplative moment, in a way, if you can find a silver lining to this time. And we wind up appreciating what we're missing, I think, even more.
Walking through New York, I've wondered what we'll remember most about this moment years from now. I hope it's this. The beautiful noise that sweeps across apartment blocks and intersections. Every evening at the stroke of 7, a tribute to healthcare workers, the heroes who fought the virus, but also a tribute to New York's own abiding spirit, the sound of a nearly 400-year-old city determined to endure.
This city really does know how to survive.
Yes, the city thrives on reinvention and resilience. It's bound to survive. It has to survive.